We know how much you guys love listening to our stories, but did you know you can also listen to more stories, books, and podcasts on audible.com?
Say what?
Listeners of Storylords might enjoy the comedy sci-fi series Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's about a regular guy named Carl who's thrown into a big old dungeon crawl to save humanity from aliens, which are real. Do your own research.
And I've been listening to the High Republic Star Wars series for months now. And I've been listening to...
I am partial to iRobot
Okay, go, your turn.
because it helps me set my boundaries with organic beings.
I like to read magazines that judge people's decorating tastes. Oh yes, okay, you go. Do they do those?
Audible lets you listen to your favorite series while you're driving or just chilling at home at any speed you want. And there's tons of books and types of literature to choose from. I like the book. That's audibletrial.com/storylords. Sign up for a trial today and help support your boys, the Storylords. Aww.
Welcome, Story Squires, to Story Lords, the prompt-based fiction podcast with 2 prompts, 3 stories, and infinite laughter. I am Rich Masters, and with me, as always, is Jeff Pennington.
Hello.
And Josh Henderson.
Are we doing more questions about our marriage this week?
No, that was last time.
We have to write a story? Hold on, let me write one really quick.
Oh, he's done.
Let me get the Post-it notes out. Hold on.
You know what? I have a whole pile of them right here.
Josh wrote the longest story this time, I think.
Yeah, mine is 9 pages, and it's
Mine's
9
7.
pages of varying degrees of quality.
Mine's 11. Suckers.
Wow.
Now you're gonna sit through my long-ass story, bitch!
Okay.
Okay.
This week...
Look, it's not the length of the story, it's what you do with it that really
That's
matters.
true. It's the girth of the plot.
Uh-oh.
It's the motion of the plot.
It's how the plot goes in and out of
The
the
vagina.
plot hole. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
The plot hole.
Well, there'll be plenty of those. Our prompts this week were Shipwrecks and Amnesia. Did I get that the right way around this week?
No.
Did I really
don't
not?
remember.
Yeah.
Okay. This week, Jeff's going to go first for reasons that you don't need to know about. Go.
They wouldn't have even asked.
My dick don't work.
Womp womp.
No, I have food poisoning, so who knows how long I'm going to last on the podcast. Thanks, Royal
Like-
Farms.
Damn. Good thing they're not ours.
I think
They are
that's-
not our sponsor this week.
That's their slogan, I think. You've poisoned me. Thanks, Farm Fresh, or whatever the fuck you called it.
Yeah. Thanks, Meatbox.
Meatbox.
Our episode this week is called As Above, So Below. Suck my dick, your mom's a hoe.
Damn.
Awesome. No notes.
Johnny Long sat silently, transfixed in his office seat, leaning his weight on one side of his elbow and rolling a small golden ring around in the fingers of his other hand absently.
Precious.
His eyes were glazed over with the process of trying to fit a puzzle together where none of the pieces matched up right. It had been 2 weeks since he and Andrew Tate's mini-me had discovered Madeline Brooks alive
Oh my god.
under the field at the edge of Riverwood Swamp. Thankfully, they had ended their partnership, but it had left him with a nagging feeling burning at the periphery of his mind at all times since. Even he wasn't certain how long he'd sat there near motionlessly this late afternoon with the offices of the Davenport Detective Agency going about their business around him and fast forward like a 90s alt-rock ballad music video.
Damn. Smashing Pumpkins as fuck.
But his reverie wasn't to last. Long, what the hell are you still doing here? The booming, gristle-mouthed voice of Mrs. Calder, Johnny's direct superior, exploded in his ear, like how your mom likes my dick to be doing for some reason.
Damn, you nasty bitch.
She can hear you coming.
Nice.
We're back.
Different pokes for different folks, I guess.
Damn.
Different poles for different holes? Did I just make that up?
Yeah.
Copyright that shit for t-shirts for me real quick. I gotta finish reading this shitty story I wrote.
Good thing your priorities are straight.
What's your problem now, Calder? They changed the formula in your fungal infection cream again? Johnny retorted without turning his eyes to meet hers, still rolling the small golden ring over and over around his fingertips. They ain't changed the formula in Gunt Flusher since the 60s. Not that you know how to take care of a lady anyway, Calder grunted back at him. What's wrong is you've been sitting here at your desk daydreaming about God knows what. A job you're actually good at, a dick that works, who knows, for weeks now. I put you on assignment to get photos for the Havisham case, and I look in the folder labeled Havisham for some spank bank material, and what do I find? Jack and shit, my friend. That's what I find. Now, why ain't you out there right this second on a tree limb outside Mrs. Havisham's window earning your keep? You'll get your infidelity photos, Calder. Give me a goddamn minute to breathe for once, all right? Long snapped loudly, causing the entire office to stop in place and silently stare at the two of them. Calder stuck a cigarette in her mouth and lit it, paying them all no mind, which caused the entire room to instinctively go back to their own business. Look, I didn't mean to, Long began, but Calder cut him off by holding one finger up to him. I couldn't give a shit less. Do your job or find work where you used to. The docks when the sailors roll in for shore leave.
It's a good business model.
And I mean do your job now. Calder puffed out a billowing smokestack worth of secondhand fumes directly into Long's face, which caused him to upturn his nose slightly, but almost entirely out of disgust for how cleverly she was getting her payback. She knew he'd quit smoking for the 6th time a month or so ago, and was struggling to keep up with it still. She grinned widely as she turned and walked away.
It'll stick this time, John.
Fucking bitch, he muttered under his breath, trying as hard as he could to focus on anything other than how much he wanted a cigarette. But in that moment, the glint of the ring in his hand caught his eye and he began to stare at it once more, his mind wandering away from the craving. Katie says it's bad for you. Always has been, always will be. Oh, that's
good
bad
for the
for
soul.
you. An extremely nasal, annoying voice broke through to him.
No.
He turned to find the human fever blister called Gordon G. Gordon smirking at him with all the unearned confidence of multiple white men combined.
The old Triple G.
Like someone had sat on a loaf of white bread and compressed it into a person. Let me guess, women, right? Johnny quickly palmed the golden ring and slid a drawer open on his desk, tossing it inside and slamming it shut harshly. What the hell do you know about women? You learned they don't pee out of their buttholes yet, at least?
Wait.
No.
Wait.
No.
Touch. You're getting on everybody's bad side recently, Long. Not just the custodian for once. Gordy Gurgle laughed in that way people filled with phlegm tended to before clearing all their orifices out. He
Gunt flush that shit out.
He tapped the trash can next to Johnny's desk with the tip of a black loafer, causing the mountain of paper, banana peels, styrofoam coffee cups, anything the prop department has on hand, to shift and unsettle on top of it. You really ought to consider a cleaner lifestyle, you know. What the fuck do you want, Gordy? You got sent back to the island of sick virgins with the rest of your radioactive bitch squad after the Brooks case. I was supposed to be free of you. Johnny slid his chair out and rose up to his feet, grasping onto his lower back with one hand and raising the other high into the air as he stretched as hard as he could to relieve the sudden flame of pain that shot up his back. The pain doesn't have anything to do with the story, by the way. He's just over 37 years old.
That's it. That's the number.
I'm the only one standing here who's treating the Brooks case like it's over, Johnny, Gordy said with a bit of a snap in his voice, but some kind of underlying sense of worry beneath it that took Johnny back a step. You've been obsessing over it for weeks now. I can tell because, well, honestly, I've been kind of preoccupied with it myself. How so? Johnny said flatly, sitting on the edge of his desk and causing a small avalanche of pizza boxes to fall over the edge of it from his presence. Gordy gagged a little, but continued. Look, it's not healthy. Don't dwell on it, right? Well, think of it like this. My childhood friend Roxanne tells me I've forgotten how to connect with people because of the alt-right online pipeline taking advantage of the loneliness and ostracization of young men in order to create an endless sea of gullible customers who continue to fund their perpetual motion money-making machine at the cost of the stability of my mind, right?
Yep. Okay.
Johnny stared with his mouth open a little. Right? It's like what you're doing to yourself over the case, Gordy responded with a swirl of his hands in the air as if he was a magician revealing a trick. You've turned yourself into a real cuck over this.
Oh, God.
What the fuck are you gurgling about at me, you living anal prolapse? Johnny finally snapped at him, stopping him from continuing to ramble. Bring! The phone on Johnny's desk began to chime.
It's got a rotary telephone.
Small light flashing on the incoming call section of the ancient-ass display. Thank fuck, Johnny muttered grimly, slipping the receiver into his hand and swooping it up to the side of his head with one hand and compressing the button on the display. I can't even imagine how younger people are following what the fuck is happening with this 40-year-old tech to be real, but we'll continue.
You might as well just put in like a fucking Morse code. Beep, 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 beep. They don't fucking know what the fuck that
Johnny
is,
got
dude.
a carrier pigeon.
Davenport Agency, Johnny Long, he answered in as attentive a voice as he could muster. The voice on the other line was distant, behind the electrical crackling of interference and distance that obscured its tone just enough to sound inaccurate to his memory, but the voice introduced itself nonetheless. Mr. Long, it's Aiden Temple. We met at the field a couple of weeks ago when we found, well, where she was. Do you remember me? Yeah, kid, I remember you. Johnny turned his head away from Gordy, who was still hovering over him like a bad smell. And also, he smelled bad. What can I do for you? Could we meet again? I don't mean to take up your time, but the voice wavered and the static overtook it. Johnny couldn't tell whether he'd stopped talking or not, but a moment later he continued. Well, I just really need to show you something there. That's all. Show me something? Where? Johnny asked with a furrow of his brow. Show you the door. Gordy grumbled under his voice and then began chuckling breathlessly at his own joke.
It's terrible, Gordy.
At the field where we found the cellar, I found something and... Well, please meet me there in 20 minutes, okay? I don't know how long I can stay here. I can't remember anything right anymore, you know? It's all gone. The voice on the line whispered hoarsely through buzzing interference.
Yeah.
Well, all right, kid. I'll be there in 20 minutes, all right? You stay put. Johnny awaited...
in 37?
Yeah, I'll be right there. 20 minutes. It sounds terrible. I'll be right there.
Johnny awaited an answer, but none came. The sudden dead air of an empty line met him instead, the buzzing and static gone in an instant. He held the phone away from his ear at a jolt and stared at it with intensity before slowly returning it to its receiver. So, where are we going? Gordy said with a heavy, unbidden grin. To your mom's house. I'm gonna try and give you a little brother through her ass this time, since the regular way ain't working, Johnny said without looking at him. Snatching his jacket up from the back of the chair and swinging it around his shoulders to shove his arms through. I'm not really sure why you want to come with, to be honest. You're a real piece of work / shit, Long, Gordy grimaced. You go on your own then, but mark my words, nothing good is gonna come of chasing around the ghost of the case of Madeline Brooks. It's over. But Johnny was already jogging towards the elevator, leaving Gordy standing silently at his desk. After a moment's silence, Gordy craned his head to look down at the notes written on the loose-leaf paper strewn across Long's desk. He slowly read aloud a small note at the edge of the page. There are 2 moons. Huh. Then he turned his eyes back towards the closing elevator doors silently. By the time Johnny had arrived at the edge of the field, it was closing in on sunset, and the sounds of various animals chirping and calling was loud enough that it almost pushed through the sounds of cars whipping past on the highway behind him. He trekked through the overgrown brush and weeds that separated the field from the road. Somehow, even after 2 weeks and only being there once, he remembered the exact route to get to where he had found the cellar doors. It didn't hurt this time that there was police tape coordinating it off from the rest of the field, staked down by small slats of wood here and there, all left over after the police had moved out. The remnants of a happening amidst the unchanging empty expanse. Or just the fact that cops suck shit and don't give a fuck about ever doing the right thing even once, even if it's just cleaning up after themselves like we teach toddlers to do. You decide. ACAB, fuck all pigs.
They protected that Tesla dealership real good.
Way to age this podcast.
Well,
although given the climate, that could happen anytime in the near future, too.
Yeah, this could be the last one ever, so who even knows?
Aiden! Johnny called out, not seeing any sign of the kid anywhere as far as he could see in any direction across the field. A sudden chill in the air brought by a billowing wind was his only response. The archaic wooden doors of the cellar beneath the earth still stood wide open, an inky blackness beneath them warding him away with memories of what he had found down there. The police had questioned him, and had told him that the full breadth of the tale, and he had told them the full breadth of the tale as he had remembered it, but was met with incredulous stares and a few chuckles. The police had followed the tunnel in both directions, they said. Down one side they'd found the storage cellar, exactly as Johnny and Gordy had found, where Madeline Brooks had supposedly been holed up alone for over a week without anyone finding her. Down the other end of the hallway, they had found absolutely nothing. Where he had found a horrid, ancient, dark church, which had nearly ripped him apart with the winds within. They had found nothing but the end of a tunnel where the diggers had stopped dead, deciding maybe that there was no reason to continue in that direction. The police had refused to allow him to go back down there himself. As he stood here, alone in the waning sun, he felt both a deep, intrinsic desire to go back down there to prove them wrong, and to prove to himself he wasn't crazy, as well as a violent repulsion to the idea of ever stepping foot in those tunnels again. Aiden! Johnny let out another louder call, his hands cupped around his mouth and his voice echoing out across the empty expanse. Again, there was nothing in return. For fuck's sake, Johnny mumbled to himself, suddenly craving a cigarette more than ever. I'm gonna fucking kill that kid and hide the murder weapon up the listener's mom's loose-ass Arby's flaps.
It just comes out of nowhere.
Thunk. Tunk, 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 tunk. Johnny's entire body jolted at once, turning towards the cellar door with widened eyes at the sudden loud, heavy thud from deep within the inky blackness down below the surface. He stood stock still, his ears straining against the symphony of evening fauna, waiting for the sound to reoccur. But he stood there a long while without the sound happening again, causing the tension within him to rise rather than recede. When he had left, he had told himself he wouldn't be going down into the hole. He wouldn't be doing any investigating. There was no danger to be found for him. But the heavy-duty flashlight he pulled out from the belt at the back of his pants with one hand and the silver snub-nosed revolver he removed from the inner pocket of his leather jacket with the other told the true story of what he had set out to do, whether he admitted it or not. Before he could even take stock of his own actions, he was at the bottom of the staircase into the cellar, the heavy metal flashlight doing a much better job of lighting up the space than his tiny handheld light had ever done before.
Heavy metal!
This time he could see that there were footprints going in every direction dozens of times, and small colored flags placed here and there with numbers on them. For forensic analysis, he imagined, though the fact that no one seemed to have ever touched them after they were placed showed the standard level of police incompetence. Seriously,
they did
fuck
that real
a
good
pig.
at the Tesla.
Seriously, fuck a pig ACAB again.
Yeah,
Yay.
bacon.
At first he turned his light down the tunnel to the right, the direction they had found Madeline Brooks originally, but immediately turned it back towards the left, towards the strange stone church he'd been gaslit into believing never existed. Fuck it, he grunted under his breath and began descending down the left tunnel at a decent speed. The bitter desire to prove someone else wrong burning in his veins enough to overcome any fear that might have stopped or slowed him down. And he's not even a redhead.
Damn.
The tunnel was exactly the same as before, roughshod after a small distance and then seemingly never-ending. The walls slowly but surely moved in on him as well, and he began to have to stoop slightly to continue, but he pushed onwards all the same. There was a cold dampness in the air that felt overwhelming that finally began to slow him, though. Was it really a good idea to go back to this place that was filled with a dark dread beyond his reckoning? Was he being just as blatantly fucking stupid as all the white women in horror movies? And just bouncing boobily directly into the hands of the dastardly bye-bye man or whatever?
Dastardly bye-bye man.
The thought did slow him down even further. But by then he had reached the same wooden door with the same red circle of peeling old paint etched onto it as he had found the first time. He turned the flashlight to the floor and saw only one set of footprints going to, coming from, and now going to this door again. His own retro Jordan 1's distinct footprint in the unmoving dust and sand beneath his feet.
Damn, he's old school.
No one had been here since he'd left. Fuck, she was right. I should have brought my camera, Johnny grunted under his breath. He reached out slowly and unsteadily to grasp the old dingy brass handle of the door once again and turned it. The door didn't open as he pushed, however. He stood silently and motionlessly for a moment in the dark, confusion on his face within the shadows, before he instantly turned the handle and pulled it. The door opened with a heavy creaking metal screech, and Johnny felt a drumming insecurity within his mind all at once. He was certain, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that this was a push door before. Wasn't he?
It's a Norman door. You think it's a push, but it's a pull.
Okay. He darted the large circle of light around inside beyond and found only a staircase leading down into further darkness beyond it. The insecurity within him was drumming at his mind now, making him feel like he was losing his ability to hold on to his own memories. This wasn't right. There was an open church beyond this door. He had been there. He had been inside. There was no staircase before. There was nothing like this. But his eyes weren't deceiving him now. He was staring down a winding stone staircase. He pushed himself forward, feeling his resolve slipping just as his faith in his own memory did. But he had no choice but to push on at this point. There had to be some kind of an answer at the bottom of these steps, so he took them, 2 by 2 as he went. Down and down and down they twisted, old and mangled stone stairs, which had been worn down with time, with the soles of boots skidding across them hundreds of thousands of times. The cold dampness of the cave-like tunnels he left behind slowly gave way to an unfamiliar must that filled his nostrils and caused his eyes to water. But before long, the smell became all too familiar, though he was so sure it couldn't be true that he stopped dead in his tracks. The familiar taste of salt on the air drove a spike through his thoughts that threatened to make him feel as if he had become trapped within a nightmare more than a waking horror. He ran then, as hard as he could, down the old stone staircase, his legs and arms pumping hard against the craggy rock beneath him, and driving him on and harder to find the truth, his flashlight bouncing around like crazy on the steps below him until there were no more steps to be seen. He found himself standing in a rocky outcropping at the bottom of a stone spire, black sheer rock beneath his feet, and stalactites dangling down above him from a cave wall as if he had found the mouth beyond the terminus. And stretched out before him, as far as he could see into the distance, was a rolling and crashing black sea, which ebbed and flowed up onto the rocks he stood on, and spray splashing into his face, which he couldn't help but recoil away from. He stood before an endless ocean, so unfamiliar to his eyes and so completely out of place as to leave him jaw agape and eyes leaking a steady stream of tears he could not control. He looked down to the bottom of the rocks, his mind barely comprehending what he had found, but reeling even further when his eyes finally landed upon the strange, broken amalgamation of shapes below where he stood. There was no mistaking what he had seen a million times in a million different movies, TV shows, comics, history books even. He was looking at the jagged wreck of a galleon ship.
What the fuck is happening?
its spires still reaching up into the air and the tatters of black flags still struggling in the wind blowing off the waves. And upon the highest mast still standing, there dangled a small form swaying aimlessly at the end of an old frayed rope in the wind, almost lazily upon the current. A body dangled from a noose, thin arms and legs wafting lifelessly with each current that caught it. The distance didn't seem to matter in that moment. Johnny Long knew exactly who he was looking at. A young woman wearing a tattered nightgown with chestnut-brown hair swaying around her pallid, bloodless features. Madeline Brooks. Johnny tried to speak, tried to think, but he simply sputtered against the spray of waves on his face. His body shook violently and he stumbled back a step, his hand grasping for the old stone door facing he had just exited from. He stared wide-eyed, his mind reeling to make any sense of any of this, his thoughts a gibbering torrent which threatened to force a guttural scream from the deepest part of him at any moment. And then Madeline Brooks opened her eyes and looked directly into his own. He was running hard and fast, screaming and panting and screaming again, his entire body pushing him on and on to escape the feeling and thoughts which threatened to rip him apart at his seams. He was in the darkness. He was in the tunnel beyond the door with the red circle painted upon it once more. He was running as hard as he could through the hallway beyond it, and finally found the stairs at the end which lead back to the surface, which lead back to sanity, to reality where things didn't hurt anymore. And he struggled up those stairs, every bit of breath in his chest ragged and worn from his ordeal, and he pushed on until finally he got to the top and found the doors to the cellar were firmly shut and barricaded above him. To be continued.
Oh my god.
That was some good imagery, man.
That's fucking scary as shit,
Thank
dude.
you.
I
Clean
thought
up the
for
piss from your pants, boys.
I thought for a second they were on the River Styx.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe
I
they
thought
are.
they were
Yeah.
gonna see Styx play in a concert.
I thought they were playing pickup sticks.
All right.
Let's calm down.
That was great. Nice, compact.
awesome.
Did
Yeah.
exactly what you needed to do for the chapter. Ended at the perfect point. Good.
That description of him running, man, I was like, oh, fuck, dude, that's so good.
Thank you. I
Like,
appreciate that.
just that pure fucking, like, I gotta get back to something, and then not being able to get out. Oh, my God.
It's terrifying.
What I appreciated most was the timing of it. It was very well put together in terms of like A into B into C. Stop. Right at the good point.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yep.
It's good.
I was pretty proud of this one. I felt like it was effective.
Yeah, it was great. I'm gonna have to shake the dookies out, but
Pull off your isotoner gloves, shake the dookies out.
gotta shake the dookies.
Oh man, good first part. And and weird for a. I appreciate the irony in what I'm saying here. For a Pennington story to be like 7 pages.
Yeah, there's an irony to that, but there's also a
true ass
truth
fact
to it that hurts me.
You guys are gonna get on board this 7-page train. I can feel it. It's the correct amount.
Well, this is my 3rd story that was under 8 pages.
Wow.
So
I wouldn't know. I don't count. I don't think that way.
I don't see color.
See numbers.
I don't think I've done an 8-page story since Catfish and Fish and Chips.
That's
Our first
that was our
episode.
first episode.
Disasters.
Princesses and Disasters, I didn't do 8 pages for. I didn't do any pages for.
How do you fucking remember this?
Just because I think from that point, all my stories have been over 12. Although this one is not.
I've turned over a new leaf, baby. I'm on board for the shorter stories that are more
Yeah, hell
punchy.
yeah. That's what I'm talking about, man. I mean, there's no right or wrong way. I don't want to.
There's a right way, and it's called my way.
Or the highway.
No, I'm probably like lying through my teeth, and I'm going to end up doing like a 20-pager next time. But
I
we'll
think
see.
whatever feels right for the story is right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Whatever
that is
you do
absolutely
is
right.
correct.
Right, on that bombshell, we are gonna go and take a break so that you can listen to some excellent Vidazon music, and we will be back in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I was going to say body, and then I said one, and it.
Welcome back, every bot.
Every bot. Every bot.
I wish.
It's my turn now, so I'm going to head over to Omniverse and read a story of quality. Season 3, Episode 7. So I was out yesterday and someone referred to an instance of deja vu as a glitch in the Matrix. It's not 1999, bitch. There are other cultural references. That shit was annoying the day after the film came out. It's been 25 years, a quarter of a century. Get some fucking originality. And this is coming from a fan of the movie. Yes, this is a title. Fuck.
Yeah, that was my question. Is this the fucking title?
Get a personality, you fucking losers. Fuck. People are annoying. By the way, this might be my worst of the season. What do you want from me? Oh, you want quality. Well, tough shit. By Rich Masters.
I'm looking forward to trying to fit that into the title of the Patreon post.
That's the way. You haven't got to worry about that for 6 months because I won't send it to you.
True.
That's true.
I don't want it anyway, right, Josh?
Damn. Nice. You're doing great. You're doing so good.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lee Wen, director of the Omnizone project. And Lee, have you got a minute, buddy? It was Hank Roselar, the money man of the project. When he said jump, Lee knew that he better get those fucking knees higher than your mama's for those hit it and quit it's on her lonely Saturday nights.
Oh my god.
Yeah, sure, Hank. I was just recording the session notes. We accidentally sent Aki to the Badger dimension again, Lee said hesitantly. Hank had been off kilter lately. His temper would go from 0 to 60 faster than a Tesla goes from 0 to 1939.
Oh, shit.
Yep, that was an Elon Musk is a Nazi joke. I know by now it's pretty redundant as we watch the biggest economy in the world succumb to the Fourth Reich, but hey, it's not my family and friends that voted for it. Oh, is that too real? Well, maybe it's time to get real. Yeah, I used it unironically. Rebel, people, for God's sake. Get your Luigi Mangione on, bitches.
Luigi's Mansion coming soon.
Get real.
Get real.
Something had been wrong with Hank lately. When Lee had asked him about it, he had admitted he was getting pressure from one of his big investors for immediate results. It was infuriating. Like fine brisket or 100% completion on Banjo-Kazooie, good science could not be rushed. We need to refocus, buddy. Word from on high. Hank looked awful. The bags under his eyes purpler than Grimace's dick.
You said the story was bad. So far, it's great.
He wants us to focus on shipwrecks for some reason. Lee's face twisted in disbelief. That's incredibly specific, Hank. It's like when he asked me to locate a cowboy and a ninja team-up, and then when it wasn't the exact version of them, it was like we served up a dogshit sandwich to Gordon fucking Ramsay.
There's something going on here.
This isn't an accurate tool for finding specific things, Hank. There are trillions of possible realities out there. What the hell is he looking for? Roselar sighed down to his bones. I don't know, Lee. He won't tell me. Apparently it's really important he finds this specific shipwreck. It's the key to his future. Lee tutted. Well, I'll leave a note for our great-grandchildren, because with vague details like that, it will take 4 or 5 generations to get even a partial match. Maybe Game of Thrones will be finished by then. I know.
Topical.
It's topical until he fucking finishes the book.
I feel like that's always going to be topical.
Yeah, he's not finishing this.
He's gonna die.
He'll die first.
He's just going to die.
Surrounded by coffee table books that he'd rather write instead. I know, Hank's head hung. Can you not go back to him and tell him? This isn't a needle in a haystack. It's trying to locate an atom of IQ in Florida. It's frankly impossible. Just do it! Hank got up and moved to the door before looking back. Look, I'm sorry, Lee, believe me. This will result in something wonderful. He's promised. He left, and Lee felt entirely less convinced than before. The man woke up to the sound of pounding, and not like the pounding you woke up to as a kid from your mum being ploughed harder than an Iowa field in corn season.
Corn season!
By any of the 4 men you'd hope would be your new stepdad that week. This was a specific metallic pounding, steady and rhythmic. He tried to rise and smashed his face into a clear surface. It was some sort of window. He'd thought it was simply dark, but no, he was in space. There was the Cassim Nebula just off to the starboard side of the coffin he was in. Wait, no.
What?
It was an escape pod. So a mobile coffin, at least. What the hell had happened? He tried to remember, but there was nothing there. His head was emptier than J.K. Rowling's birthday guest list. Who the hell was he? Just some fucking blank-headed loser floating in space, soon to die. At least he didn't know if he had a social media account, so he'd never have to be bombarded with a clickbait account from Screen Rant about the top 10 movies about dying alone in space.
This is so pointed. Such a pointed.
That's a real list. I'm telling you.
Yeah, probably.
Real.
Fuck me, he whispered. I am sorry, I am merely a computer system and not well versed in titillation, a robotic voice chimed cheerily.
Oh my god!
Who the hell are you? I am the Holistic Universal Mainframe, the 13th model implemented by the Stellar Elysian Alliance, HUM-13. The man gave a breath of relief, glad he hadn't already given up and started jerking it until he died. That would have been... That would have been supremely awkward to have the pod's AI just silently creeping on him as he made his very own Milky Way.
Oh my god.
Fuck all that. I'll just call you Humie, he said. I don't suppose you know what happened here or who I am, Humie. A series of electronic noises came back from the speaker and then, I am sorry, for some reason, unbeknownst to me, I am unable to access my memory files. Do you have any identification on your person? Come on, Humie, it's not like my underwear will have my name print. He looked down at his uniform. A heavy-duty jacket and ribbed pants that looked like an engineer's outfit. There was an embroidered name tag. Captain Elias Vane, he whispered. Fuck yeah, Captain. In your face, Dad, he thought.
What if he bought that at, like, Goodwill? It could be anybody's.
Not knowing if he had a good relationship with his dad or not, but naturally assuming his dad was a piece of shit.
Chances are, from experience.
But Captain of what exactly? Hopefully not just this Portaloo spinning into infinity. My sensors are offline due to the pod damage, Captain Vane, but we are receiving a distress signal from a ship a mere light year away. I don't really think we're in a position to help anyone, Humie. He blinked, trying to locate some other bearing on where he was, to prompt some sort of memory. There was light coming from somewhere, a warming light on the clear surface in front of his face, as if the very space was on fire. He craned his neck, face as close to the glass as he could, and just about see what was that? A figure of 8, glowing orange against the dark. The only thing that could do that would be 2 black holes, close enough to each other to be ripping the ambient light into both of their event horizons and creating some massive infinity symbol.
Fucking metal as fuck.
Has someone else ever been more fucked in history?
In the middle of the figure 8 sat a derelict cruiser, silhouetted against the light. Probably the derelict cruiser. Fuck that, Vane said. That'd be like jumping out of the frying pan and, I don't know, into a frying pan between 2 fucking endless pits, I suppose. Just like the listener's mother's endless pits. Vane winked at the camera.
This is not a pointed story. There's no direction this is being pointed.
Very eloquent, sir, but surely the captain's code means we should answer this call that ship is probably about to be pulled apart. It's statistically impossible for it to last much longer. It would be complete suicide to go there. I vote no, he sighed, suddenly feeling very parched. Hume, are there any refreshments on this pod? We only have grape soda, Captain. Set course for the derelict, Vane ordered.
God damn!
The pod docked with the derelict ship remarkably easy, probably due to the opposing gravitational fields creating a corridor like the eye of a hurricane. Captain Vane, probably that very specific thing I just wrote. Captain...
What, you're not a scientist? You don't know.
That's true. Captain Vane downloaded Hume into the computing band on his wrist and stepped out into the docking bay of the ship. What is this place? Details should be on that plaque over there, Hume chimed. Vane went over to the poster on the wall. Unless this is the USS Fire Assembly Point 2, I doubt that, Hume.
The good ship Fire Assembly Point 2.
He looked around. Spots of the ship seemed ancient and some shiny and new. He just couldn't explain it. They moved to the bridge, a cockpit only big enough for 2 people. A flashing warning light on the centre panel. What's this, Hume? These are the ship's logs, I believe, Hume cheerily announced. Would you like me to play them? Damn straight, Vane said. Hume's voice rang out over the ship's comms system. March 10th, 4274, day 1 of the scientific mission of the USS Perseverance. Crew Supplement 5, Commanding Officer Captain Elias Vane. These are a legal requirement for the crew to complete every day, and I look forward...
He came back to the place. What a fucking idiot.
And I look forward to posting these logs to High Command. Is that you talking? Vane asked. All Stellan ships have a holistic universal mainframe installed, Hume said. This hum does everything from piloting the ship during hyperspace trips to making sure that toilet paper stocks are high. Let's listen to the next log. December 12th, yes. 4274, a man's voice panicked. This is Captain Vane. We've run out of toilet paper, and Macklin only brought Son of the Mask on Blu-ray.
Oh my god.
Look, eject again. Eject again.
We're going space crazy here. The voice was not his. Well, that's not me, the man said. So, who am I? I at least need a new name. How about Norm Orman, Hume suggested.
From the Allman Brothers.
Norm sighed. Normal man. You know what? Fine. Norm Orman it is. Nothing at all stupid or ridiculous about that. He reached over and skipped to the last log, a mere 4 days later. December 16th, 4274. This is Captain Vane. We found the double black hole, and although First Officer Timmins assured me it was going to be cool, like a double rainbow, it most certainly was not. It's pulling the ship apart, and our science mission is forfeit now. We're forced to abandon the ship via escape pod, and I will stay behind in order to ensure the safety of the rest of the crew. And by that I mean I will head immediately to the escape pods and get the most comfortable of the lot. Goodbye.
Yep.
He's so honest.
The log beeped off.
Maybe leave that out of your log, I mean.
Well, I'm certainly glad we came here, Hume, thanks. Where no one has gone before. Certain repeatable death, Norm muttered. He sat in the seat and spun around, his gaze setting on one of the readouts. Wait, a lot of the ship's power is diverted down to one of the cargo bays, like 90% or so. The rest is on just environment and shields. If they punched all that extra power to boosters, they could maybe get out of the gravity well. Hume hummed. Good point. So, what do you want to do next? Play cards? No, I want to go down to find out what the power is being used for, you idiot, Norm said.
I would love to program a computer to respond to me with, good point.
Makes me feel good.
So, then I said, deja vu, must be a glitch in the Matrix, laugh mode enabled. As the doors whooshed open, Hume laughed a deep monotone. Norm sighed at the camera. A deep sigh.
This is like the amount of like petty that I live for this shit. I fucking love this shit. Keep going.
He just about resisted the urge to delete Humie's whole subroutines. The cargo bay was huge and cavernous, filled with small metal tubes that stretched to the far side of the bay. It was soulless and sterile. "What is this, an IKEA?" he whispered to Humie. "I do not get that reference," Humie said. He went over to the nearest tube, its glass frosted over. He wiped the cold away and looked into his own face. "Oh, of course, with this shit. Humie, patch me into the goddamn internal sensors and tell me that all these tubes are somehow me." "I can save you the trouble," came a voice from behind them. In front of him stood an engineer in a welding mask, brandishing a soldering iron like a gun. "What the goddamn hell are you doing back here?" Norm looked at the guy's gait, his stance, the way he carried himself, his gut. "Oh, fuck, you're me too, aren't you?" The guy pulled his mask down, and Norm looked at himself, shaking his head. "I'm fucking done with this, dude. I'll be in the escape pod, jettisoning myself into the sun." "Wait!" Humie shouted. "I need to understand what is happening here." "Fine, all right, but quickly. I have killing myself to do," said Norm. I'm Engineer William Brown," the other Norm, not the protagonist Norm or the one in the suit. The one in the tube, Norm said.
My God.
I'm following this.
We found this black hole. The captain thought it would be good to harness its power and accidentally created another one with the ship's engine. And we're in this temporal bullshit, basically. A version of us comes back to the ship to find another version of us already here. They work together, one goes out, and then somehow another one ends up coming back again. Well, that's about as scientific as a wet fart, Norm said. A double temporal loop. So when you go in the escape pod, I stay here and put myself in one of those pods. And then you come back with amnesia, and there's a version of me already here. 2 holes, 2 loops. Fucking magical.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just like the black holes, you're causing it with magic.
Yeah, and according to the logs, this has been going on for about 3 centuries now. All right.
What?
So what are we doing different this time then, Norm asked. What do you mean? Said William. Well, what's the stupidest thing we could do? Why don't we try that? We've tried good science, let's try shit. Because we're good at shit science. I mean, we could blow up the ship. That's not really an option for viable survival, though, is it? Norm asked. Look, Norm, there's no wrong ideas in brainstorming, William said. There is if you don't have a brain at the end. Humie cleared his throat.
Speaking of plot holes, Rich Masters.
Yep.
How the fuck does this guy know his name is Norm?
Oh, they've been talking for hours by this.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. Humie cleared his throat.
I'm still marking it down for the cinema sins.
I don't think this will be a congruous outcome of our needed solution. My calculations suggest that the temporal loops exist far outside the system, at least 14 sectors. We need to ensure these holes are closed. The ramifications of that were terrifying. Thousands of planets, inhabited planets, living out the same day after day. A cycle of torture that they had tried for 300 years to end. What if it was Christmas Day? What if they were stuck with their families? They had to end it.
Do they even know it's Christmas time at all?
Good point.
Good point.
Good point.
The two of them went back and forth for hours, talking over the problem with all the annoyance your carbon copy would give you when trying to solve an issue. Then it hit Norm. Humie, you said there was a distress call, that the ship was putting one out. Yes, Humie replied. Then why don't we just turn it off? Then one of us won't return to the ship. We let that ship float into the black hole. Then we let this ship float into the black hole, stop this torture, and just resign ourselves to our fates. The two Williams looked at each other, knowing it would mean their death, that one would be doomed to suffocate in space whilst the other ultimately succumbed to a black hole.
I'll do it.
To be honest, both fates were preferable to this reality or spending another minute in their own company. They agreed it wouldn't matter. So long as both men ceased to exist, the timeline had a good chance of auto-correcting. The three agreed it was worth a shot and got to work on planning the mission and trying to disconnect the company-mandated distress call. William readied himself for the escape pod as Norm readied the power down of the ship. The two men shook hands and William got into the escape pod and exited the ship to his fate. Norm went straight to the cockpit and diverted all power to the boosters. The ship, trying to tear itself apart at the seams, flew into the event horizon of the black hole. And then William Brown wasn't William Brown anymore. He was William Fairchild. He looked around. He was on a spaceship. And not like a Star Trek luxury liner, but an old jalopy of a ship. The last thing he remembered was Lee Wen over him, telling him he would see him in a year. The ship was crushed and William opened his eyes. "Welcome back, Cinco," Dr. Wen said. William looked up. He felt compelled to respond and weirdly knew the response to give back. "Did I perform adequately, Dr. Wen?" "Yes, Cinco, you did," Dr. Wen smiled and nodded for the attendants to take him. But as Wen sent him back to his room, William turned. He saw James and Aki and all the other dullards who were sent here with him, unbeknownst to them all, being sent to their deaths thousands of times. William remembered every punch, every cut, every death, every moment of fear. It was torture, but William just smiled. The end.
That's so cool.
Fucked up. Holy shit.
Must be a glitch in the loop, or am I right?
My title is about half a page. And I wrote
Why
8
didn't I think
pages.
of this? I've been handicapping myself by not even thinking of titles.
Must be a glitch in the Elysium, right?
That story, when I planned it this morning, was going to be much longer, and I had about an hour, and it got very fast
You wrote
to
that
the
in
end.
an hour?
No. I've been writing it for the large part of the day, but trying to get it right in my head. But yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
I'm a
Good.
big fan of the bitterness. I love that. Like,
Yeah, the bitterness really.
I'm not being
sets
sarcastic.
off.
I really did love it.
That's me, man.
So good.
Yeah. There was going to be like bits where the different Williams were coming out of the escape pods and trying to
Yeah.
help and stuff like that, and I was just, I can't be bothered with this anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's much tighter this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it keep it simple. Yeah, I agree.
Well,
That was
cool.
really fucking cool. Man.
It
Yeah.
wasn't shit, because that was what I was worried about.
It's never shit.
Okay, all right. It's not always good, but it's never shit.
You fucking
Fucking
moron.
Richard Tolstoy over here, fucking like Richard Toy Story.
That's what I thought you said originally. I was like,
I
what do you mean,
fucking
Toy Story.
I tripped over Tolstoy for some reason. And like,
It's so good.
We have had 4 weeks to write this story, and normally I would have been like, yeah, right, I've got loads of time to plan and stuff like that. And I have stupidly, but successfully, edited like 50 pages out of my novel to resubmit it
which
this
is
week.
insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's taken me 2 weeks to edit 50 pages out and make it completely as tight as I possibly can. But it has meant that I have deferred writing this story till the last day, which is not my ideal way of writing.
I also have a valid excuse as to why I do things the last minute.
You sometimes
Yeah,
have to go pick
I
up
did it-
candy.
We had 4 weeks to do this story, and I did it the earliest Sunday, day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monday's pretty early.
We don't use our time wisely on this podcast,
No.
but the stories
Nope.
are still bangers. So fuck you.
And also, I feel rested. I don't know about, like, well, maybe...
Yeah, I do too. I did
Like,
too.
in a
I
story
did.
sense. Yeah, Jeff did until he got the plague. But, yeah, I feel rested and I've got some ideas for where I want to take stuff now. So I think the quarter season break was a good thing we did.
I agree.
agree.
It's definitely changed the trajectory of my story. Also, just deciding to move up the giant reveal of Madeline Brooks being found like 6 episodes for the cliffhanger last time definitely changed the trajectory of the story.
Just makes things pacier.
Yeah, I'm trying to be snappier. I feel like I really dragged shit out in previous seasons, and maybe it didn't come across that way, but I felt that way.
Well, you do what you want. No, you know? You do what you do, you, man.
I'm always doing me when people aren't around.
If I was normal, man, I would have done me.
Yep.
I'd be like, you want to make out, or...
You would have created 2 Milky Ways.
If I suck your dick, it's not at all gay.
No, I guess that's right.
And then both of you say in unison, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, yeah.
No, that was a sick story, Rich.
Cool, thanks. I'm glad you liked it. Right, let's take a break, and we have a little surprise for you. So don't try and skip ahead. Listen to this.
Do we?
And yeah, it'll be now, won't it? No, we won't.
No,
it's
it
more
happened at the beginning of the episode.
Shut up, Rich. Shut up. What are you talking about, other Josh?
What? What'd I do?
No surprises. Although, unless you wouldn't have listened to this piece of Idism music before, maybe.
Josh's story is going to be a surprise. We don't know what it is yet.
It's going to be a surprise because it might be okay.
Come right back for that. Welcome everyone. Welcome back for the third part, the final part, the longest part, because fucking Josh Henderson, bucking the trend here, has written a 12-page story.
It's 11. Calm the fuck down.
Well, by the time you think up a title on the spot and put it
I
in...
made a title already.
Oh, fucking hell.
Stop
I made a title
needling
already.
him.
I made a title already.
He's doing his best.
Come on, then.
My title is... Wait, where's my mouse?
Oh.
Okay, I got it. My title this week is The Princess Tide. Get it?
Yep. Yep.
It's like that movie that is also a book. I don't know. Flamingo's HQ was a bustle of low-life scum as per usual for a Screws Day afternoon. I mean, even Jeff was there. That's how bad it was.
God damn.
If you're wondering why Jeff is catching strays right off the bat here, he just told me I should write my story in our group chat. And then I made a joke, and he told me to, quote, not write my story. Now you're all caught up.
That is exactly what happened.
I remember that happening.
Timestamp there for where I was when I was doing this.
Josh,
Yeah.
write your story.
Okay. Fred was slinging drinks behind the bar wearing his old Steak Daddy shirt he had won so many years ago during that now famous steak eating competition. I sure remember every detail about it. How could anyone forget a tale so harrowing, goodish,
Steaky.
mildly anecdotally interesting?
Steaky.
Steaky. The years had stained and yellowed the shirt, and it had those weird little holes you get that are like stretched out holes. He looked down at his prized t-shirt while he wiped down the bar and let out a sigh. In the back room, he could hear Sid and Chickpea quietly talking. He leaned in cartoonishly and cupped his free hand to his ear in an attempt to drop some eaves.
Love that.
I just don't know how she... He heard Sid say. I mean, like... And totally like... And like... Like, whoa. He heard Chick respond. Sigh. Sid grabbed the bridge of his nose. I just wish Ugla were here. She'd know what to do about her and her... Sid finished. Out of the corner of his eye, Fred saw Demi sitting at the end of the bar in her usual spot. That's right, a little kid has a usual spot at the bar. Didn't you growing up?
Wow.
She was nursing
Did Josh Henderson cry for help?
Not gonna make that. Damn it. She was nursing a swirly hemple and looking pretty down. Fred saw her look at her hand as they shook slightly. Fred sighed. Anything else for the lady? He said vociferously, switching to friendly bartender mode. More ginger ale and cherry juice, Demi said without looking at him. Haven't you had enough of those tonight, miss? Fred joked. I said more gingy ale, steak diddler, Demi shot back. Fred smiled wide as Demi gave him a smile. They had been working on her bar insults. Fred was glad she was picking up on some of his teachings. He slid a fresh mug full of fruity girl drink down the bar at Demi, who stopped it slide with one hand without even looking. Suddenly, the saloon doors opened, and in walked a fresh-faced elf dressed like he was headed to God Church or whatever people dress up for. Who knows? Who cares?
That's a good point.
The entire bar went silent as every miscreant and degenerate turned their heads all at once to meet the gaze of this foppish dandy who was more out of place than your mama at a Sexaholics Anonymous meeting.
Why would she be out of place?
Greetings! Because she doesn't want to be there, Jeff.
Yeah.
Greetings, fellows and fellowettes, the elf said cheerily. An orc responded only by blowing a snot rocket onto the floor. Well, yes, he continued. I represent the Merchants Guild, and hence I am going door to door offering a great deal today. May I speak to the proprietor of this fine, not shady at all establishment? Boo, said a troll from the back. Get to the main plot already! I'm in charge here, Fred said sternly. Ah, my good sir, the elf bellied up to the bar. He opened a briefcase and turned it around so Fred could see inside. I am offering you a sweet deal on steak fries, and I can see from your attire that you are a man who appreciates a good steak fry, eh? The all-see ball did a record scratch. What did you just say? Fred said slowly as he leaned over to put his face in the elf's pristine mug. Demi looked up with her mouth open. Get the fuck out of my bar, Fred said, grabbing the elf by his fancy frilly collar. But sir, I merely... Get out of here, you starch pusher! Jeff screamed from the background. Get wet, fucked! Screamed another guy.
Wow.
Because that's what Jeff said to me.
I'm ending up in a lot of this story, I'm noticing.
Out of the saloon doors flew a fancily dressed elf salesman who bit into more steak fry than he could stomach, and it came back to burn his tongue like steak fries inevitably always do, since they're just a baked potato in a French fry disguise. He landed in the mud of the street with a thud, while his case of fries exploded onto the street, scattering every which way. A homeless gnome peered out from under his ramshackle dwelling and shook his head. I heard what you said in there about those steak fries, the gnome chided. You make me sick! You should be earning an honest living like me by sucking donkey dicks for dimes, the gnome said, licking his lips. Move it along, you freak, a paladin said to the elf. Me? But what about this hobo? The elf protested. He just admitted to sucking off asses' dicks. Hey, the paladin interrupted. He provides a service to this community. Inside the bar, Fred shook his head in disgust at what everyone in the bar and at home had to sit through for 2 pages. Disgusting. All right, little warrior, he said to Demi. Time for bed. Man, you guys really hate steak fries around here, Demi said, shaking her head. We sure do. And here are several reasons why, Fred said as he lifted up Demi and carried her back to her cot. And where's the interplay between crunchy and soft and savory? Fred went on as he sat Demi down on her cot. The whole abomination is a lie. A sheep in wolf's potato clothing. Demi yawned and laid down. Fred got the hint and blew out the lantern by her cot. "Good night, little warrior," he whispered and turned back to the bar.
I'm ready
Uncle
for,
Vegetable
I'm ready
Peeler?
I'm ready to sign up for Fred's fucking newsletter right now.
Dude, that price sucks. "Uncle Vegetable Peeler?" Demi whispered before Fred could leave. "Can you tell me a story?" Fred smiled widely. Telling story was his second favorite thing to do after eating steaks and maybe killing dudes. Maybe it was third. Oh, and there, of course, was getting up early to read stories to his friends that he had hastily written the night before. Maybe fourth. He sat by the side of Demi's cot and cleared his throat. "Ahem. Did I ever tell you the time I first met Sid?" "Nope," Demi said with a smile. "Okay, so there we are, on the high seas." As he began, the air seemed to get wavy, as if there was some kind of flashback episode or something, Lane. Good thing it wasn't. Check!
Not only was that funny, but as you said, the high seas, a car drove past ridiculously loud.
Dude, it's so fucking insane. This sucks. Good thing it wasn't that lame thing I just said. "Chick!" Fred interrupted himself in his story. "Stop mixing toxic potions in there. I'm telling a story, and the air's getting all wavy and unbreathable." "Like, sorry," Chick yelled from the other room. "Where was I?" "Oh, yes," Fred continued. "The blackness of the sea seemed to absorb the darkness of the night like a sponge. If not for the constant lightning strikes, nobody aboard the ship would have been able to see a goddamn thing. Sid the Rogue was of no help, and once again in a precarious and deadly situation. Tied up to the mast with unbreakable magic ropes, he struggled to free himself. But it was of no use. All around him, sailors and seamen," I wrote, heh, "were struggling to keep the ship afloat. One guy flew off the edge of the boat into the black, watery maw as he grabbed a loose ship rope thingy, only to be thrown up into the air by a massive tentacle that erupted out of the ocean. Soon another tentacle followed and grabbed the poor soul at both ends, only to rip him in twain and pour the contents of his guts into his giant toothy maw hole."
Wow.
"Talk about a seafood buffet," Sid to himself. "Shut up, swine!" Fred yelled as he backhanded Sid. "Let me out of here. I can help," Sid said, spitting blood from his mouth. "Yeah, right. We don't let stowaways just wander around the ship like this was a Carnival Cruise Lines. Would you also like for me to show you the buffet, sire? Perhaps you want to drunk piss in our swim up pool/bar, Fred snapped. An enormous tentacle shot up from beneath both their feet, flinging Fred into the air. Sid tried to move but couldn't. The tentacle wrapped around the mast that he was tied to and began to squeeze. At the top, the mast split first and fell down onto the monster's tentacle, causing it to howl in pain as the timber splintered and pierced its sea skin. Sid hit his microphone. Sid looked up and could see the mast was broken. He began to shimmy his way up the mast on his back like some kind of amphibious spiderling. When he reached the top, he did a backflip off the mast and landed hero style on his knee. Quickly shaking off the magical ropes, he was free. Turning to find the edge of the ship, he was met with another tentacle crashing down upon him, and then everything went black. "Whoa," Demi said in awe. She was sitting up now with a blanket half over her face. "But wait," she said, "why was Sid a stowaway? Couldn't he just book passage like you clearly did? And what are you doing on a boat in this story? And why was there a kraken? And where did you—" "You'll see," Fred said. "Let me finish." But to answer your question about Sid, you see, he couldn't book passage because Sid is cheap as all fuck, Fred said matter-of-factly. Just outside the storage room, Sid walked by and heard his name. He stood by the door and listened to Fred's explanation. He laughed and shook his head. He better stay and listen to this just to make sure Fred tells the story right. Sid stealthily ducked back out of sight and listened in. "In fact, he still owes me 20 gold for a bet we made, but I'll never see that gold. Nope. Cheap as the listener's whorish, inexpensively to fuck mothers he is." Fred went on. Sid filled Fred's mouth as he gagged it out, causing him to vomit. Seawater and a tiny boot came up out of his mouth as he retched the last of the seawater out of his stomach and lungs. He grabbed his head. It was pounding. What had happened? Where was he? Who was he? He couldn't remember. Next to him, a troll was sloshing onto the shore back and forth with the waves. He was face up, and the sun was glistening off his dark skin. Fred quickly ran over to him and pulled him ashore. Are you okay, dude? Fred asked as he shook the troll awake. What? Stop! Okay, stop shaking me, Sid yelled back. Okay, I'm alive. Thank God, Fred said, relieved. I thought you were dead as fucking shit. Sid looked up to see the sailor who had backhanded him on the ship and skewed his face in confusion. Why did you help me? Sid asked. Why not? Fred replied, sitting next to the troll in the warm sand. Well, it's just that on the ship Fred interrupted. Yes, we were on the ship. I remember that. I remember something about a mission. Were you on the ship too? I was the barber, Sid lied. We had a barber on the ship? Fred asked. Yes, Sid said. Well, if I knew that, I'd have come in for a beard sprucing. This thing gets all crazy if I don't keep on top of it, you know. Fred stroked his manly red beard majestically. The only thing more majestic than his red fiery beard was his red fiery crotch and huge, very real muscles that glistened in the moonlight every night when he took his shirt off to get busy with 4 sexy women who all orgasmed before he did every single time and sometimes twice.
I believe it.
So you don't really remember anything about what we're doing here, how we got here, Sid asked. I guess not. I know we went to rescue a princess or something? Fred shook his head. Something like that. The ship was hired to take me there to find her, I think. Yes, the ship, that is. We were looking for the princess on the Isle of Hortuga, Sid filled in the blanks. Yeah, Fred tried to think. Why do they call it that? Do you think this is it? Because it looks like a sexy turtle from above, Sid said. The camera then did an establishing shot from high above the island. In all its glory, there was Isle of Hortuga, which indeed looked like a sexy turtle. Like those sexy mudflap ladies, but with the turtle on top. But it still had sexy-ass legs. And a sexy-ass shell if you're into that sort of thing. I, for one, am certainly not. Nope, never jerked into the Ninja Turtles porn once. Don't look it up.
Love that you kept an internet record of it that could be searched through the database.
Don't look it up. As the two trudged through the jungle, the fact that they had no idea where they were began to take its toll. Fred slumped over onto a palm tree, sweating more than your mama at a Sexaholics Anonymous meeting.
She just went in for the free coffee.
And the donuts.
And the sex.
And the sex hookups. Yeah. That's where you go. That's where you
That
gotta
is,
go.
yeah.
It's too fucking hot, man, Fred said, wiping sweat from his eyes. Come on, I hear something up ahead, Sid said. Maybe it's more survivors, Fred said. Maybe, Sid said, now being cautious. They certainly would remember the stowaway if they were to spot anyone of importance. The two men slunk slowly through the jungle brush to an opening. Sid moved a leaf out of his eye line and saw a clearing full of naked fish ladies. Myrmidons, yeah. Sid whispered. More like mere on my dongs, Fred whispered back. God damn. Calm down, Asanova. Myrmidons are fucking nasty. They're moon worshippers and don't take kindly to two-legged land dwellers. Good thing I have 3 legs then, Fred laughed to himself. Sid shook his head. Look, there. Sid pointed to an onyx idol of a mermaid on an ancient stone pedestal. What are the phases of the moon tonight? I don't fucking know, Fred scoffed. What do I look like, a fucking weatherman? I don't even remember my name, guy. Shit, dog. Sid licked his lips and rubbed his fingers together greedily as he eyed the ancient and highly valuable idol. All right, here's how we're going to do this. First Sid looked over, but it was too late. Fred had already blown their cover by standing up in full view of the Myrmidon ladies. Ladies, hello! Please, no need to stand up. Say, have any of you gals ever been with a guy who has 3 legs? The Myrmidons slowly turned their feminine yet fishy heads until finally one of them let out a screech so ear-piercing it pierced both of your ears at once, and maybe your nose, and maybe one of those sexy snake bite piercings on the cheeks from like the 2000s emo chicks had. That was hot. Every Myrmidon began to screech in a terrifying death scream that rattled the bones of the very dead. No, Okay, well, nice to meet you, and we'll just be on our way, Fred said, turning around slowly. Sid had already stealthily moved to the pedestal unnoticed. He grabbed the onyx idol, tilted it ever so slowly off the base until, click. Oh shit, he said. Dozens, if not hundreds, of poisoned darts shot out from the decorative skeletons all along, decorative skeletons of long-lost sailors that were strewn all over the clearing. Sid dodged as Fred held up his axe and deflected most of them away. Some hit his leathery man skin and plinked off of him like insults from YouTube comments. Run, idiot! Sid yelled. The two ran as fast as their 3 legs could carry them. I mean, 2. Yeah, 2. Definitely 2. Behind them, writhing venom. Behind them, a screaming, writhing, venomous pack of myrmidons chased after them. Spears and arrows and darts flew past the 2 heroes, luckily missing them. They sprinted for an opening in the jungle, but as they cleared the tree line, they saw a massive waterfall. Both skid to a halt right before the edge of the falls. Of fucking course, Sid said, looking back and down at the idol. Just leave it here. We can jump, Fred yelled. It's not worth our lives, right? Speak for yourself, big guy. Yoink! With that, Sid leapt from the falls with the idol in hand. Jesus or Christ, this guy's fucking nuts, Fred said to no one. An arrow zipped right past his face. God's fucking shit-ass, damn it, he said as he too leapt from the falls. Wait, Demi interrupted. I thought you guys were rescuing Princess and not stealing treasure. Will you let me tell the story or what? Fred said. Shouldn't you be asleep anyway? Bedtime stories are supposed to put kids to sleep. Yeah, good ones do, Demi shot back.
Damn.
Fred laughed. Sid stifled a laugh from behind the doorway. As the 2 heroes fell, they came to a very inconvenient realization. Gravity from this height would almost be certainly deadly. Hitting the water at even a height of 100 feet could be deadly. Shit! Fred yelled as he flew past the camera. Sid was already deployed his emergency thief parachute. It opened successfully, and Sid began to float down the riverside calmly and quietly. Fuck you! Fred said as he flew past Sid. Finally, an amulet around his neck began to glow. It hovered out of his shirt. The glass amulet cracked and light began to pour out from the broken pieces. It shattered in one splintering crack and a tiny feather glowed in place. The feather then disappeared into light and disappeared at the light from its magic, and the light from its magic absorbed into Fred's skin like a magical suntan lotion. What a writer. What a fucking great writer.
This is 10 out of 10 material.
Fred's descent began to slow until he was just a couple of feet off the ground. He writhed around to try to gain his balance in midair, but it was like swimming in zero gravity. Whoa, he said as he flipped upside down. And with that, the feather magically ran out, and he crashed into the ground, hitting his head again. Fuck! He yelled in pain. Sid floated smoothly down. As his feet hit the ground, he was already walking toward Fred with the idol safely in hand. Oh, look, we're here, Sid said as he pointed up to a single menacing tower. Princess saving time, big guy, Sid said, stepping right over Fred as he still lay on the ground. Let's go! Hurry up! Sid called back at him. The two stepped up to 2 giant doors at the base of the tower. Should we knock? Maybe it's a puzzle, Sid said. But as soon as he did, the 2 doors began to slowly creak open, revealing a massive single staircase that snaked upward around the edge of the tower. This is probably not going to fuck us, right? Fred asked, turning to Sid. But fortunately for them, it did not fuck them. They reached the top of the tower at a single door. This has to be where she is, Sid said, examining the door. Oh man, we're gonna save a princess, and I'm gonna get to smooch all night long and probably do a little butt stuff too. Princesses are always like, oh no, I don't like that, don't put your thumb in there. But they're nasty, and the nastiest in bed, even more nasty than gnomes. Those little fuckers can get nasty. Sid rolled his eyes. He was picking the lock of the door. With a single click, the door opened. 20 gold says this princess is a hottie, Sid said with a grin as he looked at Fred. Your saviors are here, your majesty, Fred burst in with eyes closed and lips in kissing formation. Fred? Ugla said as she rose up with 2 cucumbers on her eyes. She removed them and looked at Fred. What the fuck are you doing here? Who's this fucking guy? She pointed at Sid. My princess, perhaps you are under a spell and must be kissed to awaken from the curse, Fred said, smooching the air. Dude, Fred, I'm your sister, dog. What the fuck? Did you drink ether again? Ugly used a magical rune to scan Fred. Selective plot amnesia, she murmured.
Oh, wow.
She waved her hand again and a green healing balm covered Fred's head. He swayed back, catching himself from falling. What the fuck? He said, rubbing his head. Ugla, wait, what? How do we get up here? I don't know. You guys just barged in while we were getting mani-pedis. You're not a princess, and you weren't captured? Sid asked. What? No, Ugla yelled. We're on spring break. Kappa Upsilon Mu, baby! Woo! Another girl yelled from across the room as she was getting a massage. Wait. This isn't an island with monsters and treasure and princesses and towers? Pfft, we're all princesses compared to you, dork, Ugla shot back. Yes, this is a resort, you fucking idiots. There they are! Screamed the Myrmidon Queen. Drop the idol! Sid looked down at the onyx idol in his hands. Give it back, or we'll be charged for it on our all-sea cards when we check out, another Myrmidon shouted.
All-sea cards.
So, this isn't a magic idol, Sid asked. We were doing yoga outside, you fucking morons. This is just a tacky hotel decoration that just looks all jungly and treasury for ambiance, hissed the queen. Sid shook his head and laughed. Of course, he said. Then he reached out to hand the idol back to the back, but instead reached into his pocket for a smoke bomb. Pocket smoke, he yelled as he threw it to the ground. In an instant, he was gone. Ugla waved the smoke from her face. What an asshole, she said. I was supposed to come pick you up from spring break, Fred finally realized. Dad sent a ship for you, but they all died on the journey here.
As was common at the time.
Yeah.
What's the way? Ugla scoffed. Of course he did. Why let the wizard teleport home when you can make a spectacle of your wealth and disregard for human life by sending a ship to pick up your daughter up from college, all while diminishing her skills and independence? Fred moved over her and patted her on the back. I know. Come on, let's go home. Wait, Debbie said after a long silence. It was a resort? Yeah, boy was my red face even redder, Fred laughed. But why did the idol shoot poison darts when it was removed from the pedestal if it was just a decoration for a yoga class? Debbie asked justifiably. Look, you wanted a bedtime story, and I delivered a pretty amazing bedtime story for the ages. Now, you should go to sleep. You're gonna have a rough morning after sleeping off all those swirly hempels. Fred stood up and walked out of the room. Good night, little warrior, he said back. Good night, Uncle Steak Sauce, Demi replied back. She lay back and tried to sleep. Closing her eyes, she imagined warriors, no, wizards, fighting evil things in the darkness of the world. As soon as she was dreaming of treasure, and soon she was dreaming of treasure and adventure. Fred stopped cold as he left the room. Sid was there mimicking a slow applause. Fred bowed. Thank you, Fred bowed sarcastically. Nice story, but you didn't tell her how you tried to kiss your own sister multiple times, Sid laughed. We both don't need to hear or be reminded of that, Fred said. Besides, I figure a good retcon now and then is good for a story, he said, looking into the camera. Of course, I'm talking about how everyone thinks I wanted to fuck my sister, but this is the real story about what happened, so keep that shit in your fanfics, you sick freaks, he said, still looking at the camera, directly looking at you, the listener.
Yeah, the listener was the one that wrote him trying to fuck his sister.
Yeah. You can read me like a bedtime story, Chick yelled from the other room. You can kiss me on the lips, both of them. Finn.
Chickpea rules.
Thank you.
Very good. I love the look into the camera jokes.
Yep.
I love it. I always love
great.
those.
It's great.
Oh man, that was funny.
I love that everything lines up now. There are no plot holes.
No
There's
plot holes at
no more
all.
questions. There will be no more questions.
And there will certainly be no more retcons if you have any questions. So if you've got them, keep them to yourself.
I'm
we
not made
dole
of
out the
retcons.
retcons how we feel like they need to be doled out.
I love that he calls her little warrior. It's so cute.
Yeah.
It's
See,
ridiculous.
I'm a huge fan of her calling him Uncle Random Steak Cooking thing every time.
It's really.
I don't want
love-
that to end.
I love like naming wrong name, like in Lower Decks when they do it when like the Klingon guy calls him Brimbo, like boiler, like that's just so fucking funny to
Yeah.
me, like every time.
Good work, bud.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was a pretty good first episode back after the break.
Yeah,
We're
we're all
refreshed,
rested.
I
We're all
think.
bringing our A game or a reasonable facsimile.
Yep.
Bringing my R game.
B
retcon.
minus game.
That's well above passing.
It is
so.
well above passing. We're never ever gonna fail and have to resit.
We'll just change the name of the show again.
So no one can
True.
find us.
After you change the name of the show, then everything you wrote before doesn't matter. You can't
doesn't
be
matter.
judged.
Yeah. I mean, really, Josh, you did them a service doing a retcon when you think about it, because
Thank you.
you weren't even obliged to. That show is dead.
Thank you. Somebody gets it.
Everyone thank Josh.
You're too good for us,
welcome.
Josh.
You ungrateful fucks.
Everyone go to Blue Sky and at joshhenderson.bsky.social and say, thank you, Josh. I love you.
Everyone go to Blue Sky at goosebudspod.bluesky and say, I love you, Josh.
Excellent.
Let me go to bluesky.app. Let me go to
Is that right? Did I get it
new
right?
post at Josh Henderson. All caps.
yeah.
Thank you, Josh. I love you.
Absolutely excellent.
This is riveting podcasting.
I know. I've
favorite-
definitely not fucked the podcast to death right here at the end. And you were right. Goosebuds.bsky.social.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Right, so I think it is time to close the cover on this week's story.
Damn, we really need to clean that thing.
Yeah, it's an old book. Okay, so the prompts this week will be Unusual Tools by
What?
Sasquattimus.
What is that?
Unusual Tools.
What's that? What? Can you give me an example?
I don't know. I think tools that can be used in a different way. So a hammer to, I don't know, do brain surgery. There we go.
I gotta be like a fucking contractor.
No,
to know
like
how to font
the
this?
cow tools. Those are unusual.
Oh, like the ones that put the bolt in the back of the cow's head. Is that what you're
No,
talking about?
like
Oh.
the fucking Far Side comic, cow tools.
I thought you meant like a,
fucking
like
psycho.
a cow.
Well, now you got me thinking.
All right. Well, Unusual Tools, and that was by Sasquattimus. And then Snipers by Mr. Torso.
What the fuck am I? All right.
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, take it up with him.
I feel I feel very much like I don't live up to the prompts very often. They're very like side things in my stories, 99% of the time. But then people give me unusual tools and snipers. No, thank you to Sasquattimus and
Mr. Torso.
Mr. Torso.
They're great names. They're so fucking good.
Yes.
It used to be Mr. Head and Torso, but a sniper got him.
Can we change the prompts to Sasquattimuses and Mr. Torsos?
Torsos.
That'd be great.
Probably not, but I will put out a new call for prompts because I was going to do it in the break, and then what are you going to do?
Fucked up and you didn't.
What are
do
you
it.
going to
Yeah.
do, eh? So I will do that. But we got two weird ones. Sometimes the weird ones are the best ones.
Yeah, this could be.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. Don't
Yeah.
worry. They're going to be good prompts.
If you want to find out any more about the podcast, you can head over to storylords.page or storylords.card.co. That's card with 2 R's. by heading over to patreon.com/storylords, you can support the podcast directly. For $5, you get access to the Discord and a load of stories that we've written in text form. For $10, you get access to our sidecasts. You get Redesigned by Committee. You get Afterlords. You get Masters Piece Theatre. You get... What else have we done?
Oh my God! What
No.
haven't we done?
What haven't we? You get feet
The
pics.
list is so fresh in my mind that I can't even think of
Exactly.
The things you listed are a lot of things.
Yeah,
That is
a lot of things. That's 3 separate sidecasts. For $15, you will get a credit in the book when we finally get around to doing that, which is tough. So that's why it's taken so long. But you will get a credit, and you also get our eternal love. And you get if you go to like little dwarf kid level at $69, you become the fucking technomancer.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I don't know.
It only costs $69 to upgrade to be a technomancer?
Yeah.
Fuck!
You'd like
$69 a month, and you can rule the galaxy with your
That's crazy.
insane dog hallucination by your side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how Henry Roselaff feels about this. But obviously, he's stoked about it. He's absolutely made up. That's what I think about him.
The thing is, like, the more you guys become high level, high motivation patrons, the more likely we are to actually make the book, because I'll be able to take the time off necessary to make sure it's edited and put together and illustrated, and then go and get it printed somewhere.
Most of that money will go to correcting my egregious spelling mistakes.
I'm probably here's the thing: if you're an editor for a living, maybe reach out and contact me, because I'm not editing this. It's not happening.
No,
I don't want to edit anything ever.
I can't.
As evidence.
I can't do that. I just edited my novel. I can't do it for. I can only do it for my own work, because I won't get frustrated. I'll get reasonable amount of frustrated at myself. I don't want to get frustrated at anyone else because they spelled things wrong.
As somebody who has posted Josh's writing onto the Patreon,
oh wow, where's this going?
there are times where I'm not sure what he's saying.
My hands are like data. They're flying when I'm writing, dude.
Like, you know what you're saying, and it's like shorthand in some places, because you know exactly what you're trying to get across.
Yeah.
I'm not demented, so I don't know.
Thanks for lying to me about how you think that's okay. I appreciate the lie.
Well, the thing is, and I've pointed this out before, that like I save a version of like my stories to my computer, and then I never go and change anything in them, so they're just full of me using the wrong words that didn't get caught with spell check.
Yeah. Dude, spell check doesn't even fucking work.
No.
This doesn't even work anymore.
Like my stories are sometimes I have written the wrong name of a character, so it changes the meaning of the entire sentence.
Yeah.
And I've just changed it when I'm reading it.
Just be like Rich and name all your characters the same name.
So if you would like to step foot into what I can only describe as a nightmare of editing our stories,
Are you really selling this to them? They
please,
don't need to know this.
Please contact me, because we could use an editor, and we'll like hopefully been able to like scrape some dough together. I mean, we'll pay you. I'm not gonna fucking be like, yoink, thanks for editing.
Well, and also you'll get an editor credit in the book as well.
If
you'll be able to put it on your CV.
Yeah, if you want to be like published, we'll absolutely give you an editor credit,
Unless
but we are going to give you a little bit of dough as well.
And then that's going to disappear right away.
What?
What?
It's best that you didn't hear it.
I'm sorry, what?
Storylords is also on YouTube every week.
I assume that was something meant to hurt my feelings.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Storylords is on YouTube every week. Once per week, an episode is being released, and you've got John Anderson to thank for that. So if you want to give him a thank you, please do. He is.
You can send him the thank you on Blue Sky at joshhenderson.bsky.social. just in all caps. Thank you, John Anderson. I love you.
John's details are on every YouTube upload.
Yeah.
You can go and thank him directly in the comments. But if you've listened to Storylords before, or back when it was Bros Before Pros, and you want to do a re-listen, it would really help us if you did it on YouTube, share it around, comment, like, subscribe, all those stupid things that all the YouTubers ask you to do. Do we have any reviews?
No.
Right, okay, that's good. And I'm going to read the Patreon fans like I always do. Henry Roselar, King of Patrons. Squid Ludwig has also been at Little Dwarf Kid level for a good couple of months now.
Who has? I'm sorry, I yelled over it.
Squid Ludwig.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to look at him too hard, just in case he takes it away. But thank you, Squid, as well. You are the Duke of patrons.
My liege again.
And a big thank you, as always, to Anthony Stoker, Federico Rodriguez, Granola Daniels, Heath Robinson, Jonathan Anderson, Pez King, Rena Kemp, Sean Tabor, Stephen, and Werewolf Bar Mitzvah _patron_only.
Spooky, scary.
But Werewolf Bar Mitzvah. And a big thank you to longtime patron Goats and Goblins, who has been
rules.
It's an excellent name, who has been a patron since May 2023. Thank you very much, and thank you to all of our patrons.
Did you thank Vidison?
I'm going to. He's next on my list. I'll leave him till last because it's the biggest thanks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got a list. I forgot.
So big thanks to Greg, who provides all the music for this show and many of the other shows in the Continuverse. I'm just, adding everything to that you or I am associated with now.
We call it the Cuntverse, please.
Oh, okay, yeah, that does make more sense. You can follow Vidison and find everything about him at vidison.card.co. I always say everything about him, like it's got his fucking social security number on there, where he's going to be on a Tuesday.
He's got his fucking fears listed on there.
What's his feet size?
But thank you, Greg. We really love you. Greg is well overdue a guest spot on the show, so we'll get him back on at some point.
If not shocking to you, the audience, that guest spot is on our very next episode of Story Lords.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Greg is going to join us on the the next time we record.
Well, the prompts were Amnesia, so I method acted the fuck out of that.
Yeah, the next time we record is the 25th, and he's going to be joining us to record.
He has to write about snipers
and unusual tools.
Oh yeah, I gotta tell him the prompts.
A big thank you to all of you who listen, who support us in any way you can, be that a review or just listening to get our numbers up, telling your friends about us. Anything you do to help the show helps the show. So don't feel that your contribution is small, unless it really is and you don't do anything.
Amazing.
So, big love to you all, and we will see you in 2 weeks for some unusual tools and some snipers. See you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.